Not ready?
I'm good, go ahead.
Thanks. Well, my name is Dwayne Wayne. I'm the chief of the city of Wilmington, and today I have the honor of saying Karson is home. At 1:15 today, he was recovered at Starbrook Road and Sabina Road by Sergeant Fithen and Jerry Pop in a field there just off 71 on the south side of 71. It's been a long 61 days, and when I was starting to do this press release about 2 hours ago, you start thinking about, man, who do you think? And the list is just unbelievably long. So I know I'm not going to be able to thank everybody, but I am going to start thanking some. I want to say thanks to the officers that work here at the police department. I want to say thank you to our dispatchers. Every day we've had countless phone calls come in, questions, what can we do, and stuff like that. And they fielded all those calls endlessly and tirelessly and done a wonderful professional job. I want to say thanks to the communications officers at Xenia and Greene County at the communication center there, because when Karson transitioned from Clinton County into Greene County, they started taking the calls. And it was a tireless and thankless job on their part, and I can't thank them enough. As well as the Xenia and Greene County Sheriff's Office for help following up on all these calls. We have so many volunteers, and in order not to say just one volunteer, but there's hundreds of volunteers, and so I'm thankful when we have our coming home party later in the week, I'll probably spend a lot of time thanking all of our volunteers in, because the list is many. I need to thank Jordina Gagari. Jordina works with Lost Pet Professionals. She's been one that's been helping us since right about the beginning of January, helping us track down leads. It's with her help and her dogs that we've kind of been able to spend a lot of time tracking Karson and verifying a lot of tips that we've had. The tips that started coming in obviously on the evening of the 23rd, and to this day we've lost count. It's into the thousands of tips that called in from various areas, like I said, starting here inside the city limits, to the area of Grandpa's Pottery, which is just outside the city, to Center Road in our county, Roxanne and Wilmington Road, not only in our county, but also covers Warren and Greene counties, the Spring Valley area. Like I said, the calls are phenomenal. And that kind of has a testament to one of the things I think is the best part of my job is being a chief of police in a rural area. The people out here are wonderful. The support we get from our community is phenomenal. And I can't thank the people, the citizens of this area and of the Greene County and the Warren County areas that's been calling in and helping us. Can't thank them enough. One of the things that we started working on was when we had Karson recovered, we had a recovery plan in place. And so we knew that he'd been out for several weeks at the time when we put the plan in place. We didn't have any idea that we'd be talking on 61 days into this. We all figured, a week we'd have this done, a week turned into 2. Before you know it, we're sitting here today. But we did have a recovery plan in place. And our thought was that, he'd been out for a long time. As you've seen the temperatures, they're definitely sub-zero, a lot of snow. He's traveled a great deal of area, land miles, in this time. So our concern was his health and well-being. So when Karson was recovered today, Sergeant Fithen transported him straight to Country View Pet Hospital, where he was seen by Dr. Jill Thompson, the veterinarian on staff there. So when I invite her up here, she can talk a little bit about his medical condition, and then after that, we'll take some questions. Jill, nice.
Hi. Karson was brought into Country View today, shortly after he was recovered, as Chief Land said. We had this recovery plan in process. He presented, he came in on his own. The dog is full of tenacity. He looks really good. He's of course thin. He's lost about 14 pounds. Everyone was worried because there were reports that he had been limping. He is red between his paw pads from all the snow being caked up in those pads. But otherwise, he's got a little bit of soreness in his left stifle or his knee. Otherwise, you really wouldn't know much has gone on. We can't get in his head. He can't tell us about his explorations. What we do have proof of is that he at some point encountered a skunk, because he was bathed today and we didn't know that. Otherwise, we've run blood tests. Everything has come back normal. He's not anemic, anything like that. He's mildly dehydrated, so he did receive an IV catheter with some fluids today. He looks great. We'll be running some tests later on in the week to be sure that there are no other parasites that he might have picked up. But it's really amazing what he's been through and how great he looks.
Ma'am, if you could you give us your name, spell it for us, and who you're with again?
Yes, I'm Dr. Jill Thompson. I own Country View Pet Hospital. It's JILLTHOMPSON.
With that, I'll open up some questions. I did that good.
How's Officer Pop doing?
Officer Pop is doing really good. One of the things early on, we kind of decided that, him and Karson needed some time to bond. This has been one of those traumatic experiences, and for him, for his family, a huge disruption, especially through the Christmas break and through what all's going on with him and his family. So right now they're home relaxing, having probably enjoying the warmth. I'm sure Officer Pop is probably thankful not to be chasing down leads and sub-zero weather anymore. But they're home just being a family at this point. And so, like I said, our plan is that I'll have a press release that I'll send out sometime later in the week. In case you haven't heard, Governor Kasich is coming to Wilmington later in the week. So shortly after that, probably Wednesday, I will have a press release out. We're going to put together like a coming home party. You'll all be invited to that as well. At that time, Karson and Officer Pop will be present. He's got, he wants to say thank yous to everybody. His list has been phenomenal as well for all the people that he wants to say thanks to. We have been trying to reach out to a lot of people and say thanks because it's, when we started our Karson K9 page shortly before Christmas, and sometime around that time we had 156 likes on the page, and if you haven't looked at it today, it's 23 some odd thousand. And the people that have posted on there and the well wishes, we've had thank you cards as far away as California. Every day, it's probably 5 to 10 cards per day saying, "Hey, keep after it. Don't give up."
How are you going to know if Carson's ready to get back out there and be an officer? Is
Well,
that a long process?
It will be, because first of all, we want to make sure that he's healthy and he's ready, and that'll be something we'll coordinate through Dr. Thompson to say, is he fit for duty? And then we're also going to have to go back and say, there's going to be some remedial training. We'll have to put him through a state certification and all that stuff. So there's. He ain't ready to come back to the road anytime soon. This is going to be a little bit of a process.
How did the process start? I mean, we're standing here talking about him being found, but what started it to get to where we are now?
To the closure today?
Yeah.
Great people following the fact that Carson's been missing, calling in tips along 71. A few people that stayed up in that area kept calling it in. He was able to get deputies up there. He was able to help out. Sergeant Piffin was able to get up there. Officer Pop was able to get up there. And was able to get eyes on him through the aid of some citizens that were really helpful in the matter, and basically just getting out in the field and cornering him.
Chief, what can you say about not just Officer Pop's determination, but your whole department and all these other departments that just never seem to give up?
Yeah, and that's the thing is that we've said it before. Karson just isn't a dog. He's a member of our department. He's a member of this community, and that's been kind of our driving force is that he belongs here. He's one of us. So we care about him. Just as much as we care about one of our officers. And so that's kind of been our driving force is that we want to stay after it and stay, and we want to bring him home. That's been our goal.
How many land miles was it,
I don't have that handy, but I will tell you it's probably in excess of 200 physical sightings.
What, in excess of 200 what?
Miles. Like we were plotting him,
Oh,
like different
plot.
sightings and stuff. So.
Can we talk about the call you received today, kind of what Carson's reaction was whenever the officers arrived?
The reaction today was when they had him, he kind of was apprehensive. But then I kind of think he transitioned into, hey, I belong here. He got in the back of the truck because we was out in the field when we encountered him. And then from that point on, I was like, he's with Officer Pop, and it was, hey, where you been? Kind of mentality.
So you're probably kind of scared.
Scared and apprehensive was probably the best way to determine it when he was found today.
But as soon as Officer Pop there, did he recognize them?
Oh yeah, he's like a puppy that been waiting for Dad to come out. So very well received. So like I said, look for a press release later in the week. We'll have something out. Like I said, we've got coming home party. We've got so many people to thank, and that's our plan is when I have the time to sit down and actually create the list and do it right. I got so many people to thank. Officer Pop has so many people to thank. Like I said, I look forward to seeing everybody later this week. Yes. Anything else? I appreciate all your time, Mr. Gary.
Did anybody qualify for the reward?
We've got a handful of people that we need to do some following up on. So yes, I'm sure someone will get a reward. We just need to do some legwork on it. Because like I said, we had a lot of people calling in. You know, so there's one couple in my mind that stands out, but like I said, we're gonna do some legwork on it. But yeah, there's certainly somebody that qualifies for it. Anything else? I appreciate all your time and effort. Thank you.
Doctor,
And I thank you
I
for.
have a couple questions.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you've looked at dogs before,
Yes,
60 days in the weather that we've had
yes.
with wind chills and that, which I mean, is amazing a word to be used.
Absolutely amazing. I think we had a miracle today, yes. But I don't think, I mean, if you look in stories and in the news, there are several stories of dogs surviving these type of situations, these type of temperatures, this type of weather, and certainly a Belgian Malinois is equipped. They're, like I said, a strong and tenacious breed, so we had an amazing gift today, though, yes.
Well, that's where I'm at. I'm at the press conference right now, recording it.
No, I met Karson and Officer Pup today. I've spoken with Officer Pup several times, mostly messaging. We've been in contact a lot over the last 2 months. But this, like Officer Pup said today, this is the way I wanted to meet you. And so this was our first meeting today.
Can you describe what Officer Pop was saying to you when you were there, just your experience with him and him interacting with Karson? We saw some of the pictures.
Well, I think everyone can appreciate, just from, if you've been reading the page, he's very eloquent when he speaks about the dog. I don't know, I'm sure you all follow his page. He's as eloquent as when he's with the dog as well. He loves that dog, and that dog loves him, loves his son. It's an experience that I won't soon forget. The dedication to him, to Karson, is phenomenal.
You mentioned the redness on his pads.
Yes.
I mean, is that maybe equivalent to frostbite?
No, he doesn't have frostbite. There's plenty of circulation to the area. Frostbite would be a lack of that circulation, so there's no permanent damage there. Just like if you're outside and your face gets chapped in the wind or red from being out in the weather too much.
Obviously, the breed, being the breed that he is,
Yes.
saved his life, would you say?
I mean, I'm sure there, you can look around, I think, on Karson's page, there were some stories posted about a greyhound that survived in New York. Greyhounds certainly aren't, they don't have a long coat and those types of things. So I think there are other breeds that could do it. I can tell you just from this dog today, this dog has quite a spirit. He's a very, very nice dog. He's got a lovely, lovely spirit.
With him being found now, would you consider a chip to find him?
He's chipped now.
Oh, he is.
And so, but it's a microchip, and it's just there for identifications. There's not a GPS chip you can put in there. We usually have GPS collar or something along that line. But like I said, here, under the circumstances, he was being bathed. He didn't have any collars on him at the time. And like I said, it was a freak accident that led us to where we're at today. So,
And he was chipped, his chip was checked today too, and it is in place.
yes. One of the things I did send out to everybody that's on my email list, when Sergeant Ron Fithen did find him, he called it in on the radio. In my mind, I can't thank Ron enough for, all the stuff he's helped us with this. But I did send it out to everybody because in my mind, it's quite touching. When he called it on the radio to say, hey, he's been recovered, he's been found. And Ron, did you have anything you want to pass on? We'll come up here. And this is Ron Fithen with the police department. Like I said, he's been very instrumental today in the recovery of Karson.
First of all, I want to thank Chief Wayne, Dr. Thompson. Today was all the hard work came to fruition from the community, from the officers, dispatchers, all law enforcement that was involved, any other agency that we had out there over the past 61 days. Just being there at the moment when I met eyes with Karson, knowing he was coming home today, that has made my year. And today was just spectacular, and getting that is what Pop would say, getting the furry boy home is just a loss of words. And seeing the emotion from Officer Pop, we did have a moment in that field when we were able to get Karson into that truck. But Karson is home where he needs to be, and we are going to work hard at getting him where he needs to be, back on the streets of Wilmington.
Sergeant, what did you guys have to do to get Karson back on the truck? I know he was apprehensive, but what did you guys do exactly?
Being gone 61 days and not having that human interaction, some dogs are going to be a little scared. what we had to do is we actually let Officer Pop approach him. As Officer Pop approached him, I was in a police cruiser 4x4 pickup truck at that time, and I was paralleling him. And we were able to actually get within about 50 feet of Karson when I was able to get out of the pickup truck. At that time, I was able to get down to the ground, lay on the ground, and speak with Karson, and call his name. He looked at me, he stopped, and within 4 to 5 minutes, we were able to get him in the truck at that time.
How many leads did you go on that were empty, and then today when you saw him, you knew it was him?
A lot had to do with a photograph we received earlier from someone who took a photograph of Karson. When I arrived on scene, we had that photograph. We were 100% sure by looking at that photograph that it was Karson. Previously, we had no photographs to go by. It was basically, somebody saw it, they would call it in. Some of those turned out to be coyotes, some of them turned out to be other dogs. But seeing this photograph today that one of our community members took brought Karson home. They were a very integral part of that.
Can you say and spell your name for us?
It's Sergeant Ron, last name's Fithen, F like in Frank, I-T-H-E-N.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thanks, Bob.
Alrighty. Good, good.